Hi, everybody. This is Steve and Beth from Best Last Half. Our last video was about Sean and Amy's wedding in Katy, Texas, Houston, Texas. The wedding in Katy was the reception, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. And we're so happy to have the bride and groom themselves, Sean and Amy, with us tonight to talk to us about their wedding reception.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Sean and Amy.
Thanks for having us. The guests of honor in more ways than one.
Yes.
So this is our first picture.
So this was after we had just gotten to the wedding reception. We'd taken the car in from the wedding, and they had us outside under the tree. And we got some really good pictures out there, out at the Beckendorf Farms barn.
Look at Amy's gorgeous flowers, too.
Very beautiful. I love my bouquet.
Yeah, you can
It's
see
so
it really
pretty.
well there.
So this is in the background. There's the barn. That's Beckendorf Farms barn. It was actually built in the 1800s in Ohio, and then deconstructed and moved to Katy and reconstructed piece by piece. And then it's actually on a working farm, but the barn is just for wedding receptions now. And then this shot here is actually, they call it the iconic Beckendorf Shot, because every couple has their picture taken on that road that leads up to the barn. And it just makes for a really cool picture, because you get the barn and you have the couple, and it's like just shows like pretty much the whole venue. And it's just really just a really pretty place to have a reception.
And look at that beautiful veil, too. That
Yes.
looks stunning.
I love my veil.
So here you can see us with our wedding party. We had everybody outside leaning on the fence here. So for me, I had my brother Ryan, and then all my college friends were the groomsmen,
And my brother.
and Amy's brother.
And then my bridesmaids were a mix of my college friends and then my friends from like my adult life. And then also one of my cousins was in our wedding as well.
So here is Sean and Amy when they finally got done with pictures. And I would point out that when Amy's maid of honor and attendants were helping her with her dress, they had that tray so beautifully behind her. And here Sean has it all bunched up and he's carrying it like a suitcase.
Hey, that's how they told me to carry it. I had to keep it out of the grass. Didn't want any, snakes or anything to get in there.
Suppose that was the goal. Here's the grand entrance.
Yeah, here was us coming in after taking all the pictures outside, coming through the huge barn doors, and very excited for the reception, and also to get into the very good AC they had.
Yeah. Everybody's clapping. That was so exciting to watch them come in so happy. And
this is taken from up in the loft above the reception area. And it's just, that's our head table. We were eating, and then all of our guest tables, well, about half of them were behind us, and then the other half were in front of us. I didn't want to preside over everybody. That would just, with everybody watching me eat, that just made me feel weird. So that's why we set it up that way. But you can see the flower arrangements on the tables that I picked out, worked with the florist to have the lanterns, and then other tables had the just like a vase of flowers, and then we had a long greenery runner down our farmhouse table where the head table was. I really liked that, because I liked that we all got to sit at the same table, and it was just all long.
It was a long table.
It was a very long table.
Yeah.
well, here's another picture from the reception. And then two people off to the right standing up. That's my parents. And they're blessed to have the same wedding anniversary as Sean and Amy. So on this day of their wedding was my parents' 61st wedding anniversary. And later in the reception, there was an anniversary dance. And of course, they were the last ones standing. And also Amy's mom, when she gave her speech, talked about how it was their anniversary. So that was really sweet for them that you shared a part of your day with them.
They felt really special.
They did.
Yeah, that day was their 61st wedding
61st
anniversary.
wedding anniversary. Yeah.
And this is my mom, Debbie, giving her welcome speech. My dad let her do it because he was not wanting to make a public speech that day because he was very nervous, and I mean in a good way. But
He was emotional.
yes, he was very emotional. But my mom did a great job. I kind of knew what she was going to say, but she didn't practice it in front of me or anything, so it's kind of a surprise. But she did a great job. We actually, when we were looking at the wedding pictures with her, we kind of laughed with this one because it looks like she's doing her stand-up comedy tour.
She was good.
She was very
It
good.
was funny, and it was just, she did a really good job.
Yeah, she did a great job. She practiced a lot, and it was funny, and it was really entertaining.
So you can see Sean and Amy laughing at them in this picture.
Yeah, it was
Laughing
good.
at Debbie's speech. Here's the first dance. So it was really, really special watching these guys dance their first dance. I have to say, I watched a lot of first dance at receptions, and these guys seem to really enjoy themselves doing it.
And I like the beautiful mermaid dress on the beautiful Amy. Look at that dancing. You can really see that in that picture, how beautiful that is and how well it looks.
And we danced to Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis. So it's a classic song.
Beautiful song. And I really like this picture because you can see the sun shining down on them through the windows in the barn. And I think that's just the Lord blessing them in their marriage by shining his light on them.
So this is me and my dad dancing. We danced to an Alan Jackson song called You'll Always Be My Baby. And he actually heard that song before, I think it was before I even met Sean. And he was like, oh, that's the song that I want to dance to with you at your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to do it. And it's a really beautiful song just about watching your daughter grow up. And it was just, and Alan Jackson, I've always loved him. And my dad especially, so it was really special for us to be able to dance to that, and it's just a really nice dance with him.
And here's Sean and I. We're not as good of dancers as Amy and her dad, are we, Sean?
We did not practice.
No, we did not practice, but it was fun. We talked through the whole dance, and I loved dancing with you and loved chatting with you. We reviewed all kinds of things, didn't we?
Yes,
and how proud of you I am.
Yeah, it was a good dance. It was a lot of fun, and they got a lot of good pictures of us in here.
So the real story is that Sean, when he left Seattle, had a checklist of all the things that he wanted to do.
Dad's going to tell the real story.
Including meeting a wonderful girl in Texas and getting married. So I told Amy she was on the checklist. She didn't even know it at the time, but she was. And they reviewed the checklist as they were dancing.
Yes. Sean was telling me, look, Mom, look, it all worked out the way I planned.
Very, very glad to have met Amy and very glad to have moved to Texas. So it all worked out in the end.
It did work out. And they're not going to ask us on Dancing with the Stars, are they?
I don't think so. I mean, we might get some sympathy votes, but I don't think we'll get any serious votes.
So here's the best man speech. And this is Sean's brother, Ryan, talking to him. So what did he have to say, Sean?
Well, so Ryan had actually come over to the hotel where I was getting ready before the wedding. And we were hanging out and watching YouTube videos and decided we wanted to practice. So he had a lot of stories, and we practiced the speech a couple times. One of his speeches involves, I get kind of cold sometimes, with cold hands and cold feet, especially, in Iowa in the winter. So, we were talking about that, which is something that Amy knows about. Mm-hmm. One of his stories involved sharing a bed when we were on family vacations and how I'd steal all the covers. Which is also something that Amy's experienced. And then he also talked about Amy learning how to ski on our family ski trip last March.
And how awesome she did. She's our only family member to make it down the entire mountain her first day, which was awesome.
It's because she was so determined.
The thing I like about this picture is our boys are 5 years apart, and I was worried when they were young. They've never been friends. And here they are at 27 and 32, and they are wonderful friends. And I just think that's a huge blessing.
Yeah, Ryan did a great job with his speech, and it was pretty funny. And yeah, I'm so glad that worked out.
Here we are listening, and no, I'm not looking skeptical there. I'm just really into it and intense about it.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I had two maids of honor. Those were my two college friends, Courtney and Adrian, and they both gave a maid of honor speech. They did a really good job. They talked about how we always in college would watch love story movies, like Nicholas Sparks movies, and that was something that we always shared, or like Disney princess movies, that too. And then Adrian kind of followed that up with how we were so important to her. And then we have a thing where Courtney and I call her Mama Adrian, because she's always kind of just been like the mother figure of our group, because she was our small group leader. And I don't remember if it was Courtney or Adrian, but one of them just started referring to me and Courtney as Adrian's little duckling. So at the end of the speech, she said that Sean was another one of her little ducklings. And then this is me and my parents at the reception. You can see my dad's wearing his cowboy hat. He really wanted to wear that for the ceremony, but they wouldn't let him wear it in the church. So he was a little sad about that, but he wore it for the entire reception. He wanted to look very Western, because even though we're from Houston and it's a city, he's pretty manly country guy.
He had his tux, his Western tux.
His Western tux and his bolo tie, and I think the belt buckle he had was matching that day.
I tried to talk him into the gun belt and the revolver, but he didn't think that would go over well. So here's all of us in front of the cake stand. And I thought this was a really neat picture, because this is a new family. We're all family now. So, and you can also see on the cake topper, just barely, and then over Sean's shoulder, over his right shoulder.
And that was on my parents' wedding cake 40 years ago. And that was their cake topper. And I always saw it in the china cabinet when I was little, and I thought that was really cool. So my mom actually gave it to me on my wedding showers and passed it down to me. And so now I get to have it. And that was really special to me to be able to use it on our cake. And then here we are cutting our cake. I had a semi-naked cake, so it just kind of had like the crumb coat on the outside, because I don't like a lot of frosting. And then I got her to put strawberries on it, because I love strawberries.
She loves strawberries. She's going to turn into a strawberry at some point.
But also the cake cutter and server that we used, those are also heirlooms that my grandma was given at one point, and then she passed them down to my mom, and then my mom passed them down to me for us to be able to use at our wedding.
Here I am with two of my long-term dear friends. It's a little bit sad. My sister and my other dear friend, Janine, weren't in the picture, but I was blessed to have four of my best friends come to Sean and Amy's wedding, and we just had a wonderful time, and they were super supportive. They took me to go get my hair done and did everything else, and we've been friends for 35 years, so it was special that they made the trip. It was a big trip to come to your wedding, and I was just so happy they were there.
So here's me and Amy talking to two of my friends from Seattle. So they flew all the way down. The wives and girlfriends weren't able to make it, but my buddies were, and so that was really great. I think they set the distance record for our furthest away guests. So that was really fun. I hadn't seen them in quite a while.
They also were your ski buddies, so they were busy talking to me about ACL surgery.
Yeah, they both have had, I think, 3 surgeries between the two of them, so they are the resident experts on getting ACLs back.
Friended Beth on Facebook and gave her advice on surgery.
After my surgery, they were talking about it. That was sweet.
Yeah,
good
they were
friend.
very sweet to you.
Yeah.
So this was our, I think it's called a legacy table, something like that. But it was also our cards and gifts table and our guest book table. But we got pictures of both of our parents and all of our grandparents and had them displayed. It was really cool to see, because we had wedding pictures from the 50s, the 80s, and then 50s, 60s, and then the 80s, and then a couple of pictures of us too. So it was really cool to see. And then the big M off to the side, that was our guest book. It was just a wooden M. There's plexiglass over it, and then it had little holes for people to sign little hearts and drop them in. So
is that up in your house?
It is. It's hanging on our wall now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was the plan all along. And this was taken from behind, obviously, when we were eating dinner. And it's actually really cool because my brother and sister-in-law used the same photographer that we did for their wedding, like I think 7 years ago. And she took this picture of them as well. And now every year when they go out to dinner for their anniversary, they have it recreated. So that's something that we can do in the future.
Important tip, Sean. I think that would be a good thing to do on your anniversary.
Okay, I'll have to keep that one in mind.
And
Keep
look,
that in my back pocket.
you're looking at Amy, so you have to get it just right.
Okay.
You know.
And here once again is the first dance. And I love this picture and put it in because Amy looks like she is so in love with Sean, looking up at him. And I think that was symbolic of the entire day because you two had such a beautiful wedding and such a beautiful reception.
And Sean's so in love with Amy, you just can't see his face on this picture.
And this was our honeymoon in Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Yep, we went on the honeymoon a couple days after the wedding, and we had a great time. And we learned how to sail a small sailboat, and we actually went out on 2 different days. And this was the first day, right when we got back, looking, really happy. Everything went really well. And on the second day we went out, we managed to flip the sailboat and get rescued by the Sandals rescue boat.
So would you say mistakes were made, Sean?
Yeah, I figured out later I'd made some basic sailing mistakes, but I mean, we were okay. And after a new sail, the boat was okay. I think it was more our pride that was injured, seeing how the whole beach got to see us get rescued by the Sandals rescue craft.
So growing up in Iowa, you didn't have lots of experience sailing?
I got to learn how to do it on the fly in a couple YouTube videos, and I think I know what I did wrong now, but I'm probably going to need some more practice.
But the good news is they have a really funny story to tell to the rest of their lives about sailing at Sandals. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight on this video, and we are so blessed to have Sean and Amy and all of these pictures to remember their wedding and reception. And we hope you enjoyed hearing about them.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.